Well, there we have it. Brexiteers have once again been betrayed by the political class, the UK Parliament, the European Union, and a lot of people in Westminster. The European Union today have agreed that it will accept the UK's request, well, the UK Parliament, not the government, request for a Brexit flextension as a flexible extension until the 31st of January 2020. The decision is expected to be formalised through a written procedure. Now, we all remember when Boris Johnson said, just leave it to me, we're going to be leaving at the end of October, do or die, the usual stuff. Now, this is where the problem is, because now, by being objective, we have to acknowledge that it wasn't completely Boris's fault, because obviously the EU are changing the international law to basically change the exit date again, and the Remainers in Parliament obviously found a number of ways to block it. Well, technically one way, it was the Ban Act. They tried a number of other things but just failed. But at the same time, this is where trust between politicians and the public comes in. Now, even if it's not your fault, when you're Prime Minister or a leader in any organisation, any entity, the moment you know that things are changing, and the moment you know that the promise you made is not going to be happening, and at least the last few days or the last couple of weeks, then you have to either kind of accept defeat, change your line, instead of going around saying, no, we're still leaving, we are leaving, end of October, don't worry, I know my deal's not going to be passed through by that time, and no deal's not going to be happening, but we're leaving. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. And obviously a lot of people are upset. A lot of people obviously, as I said, acknowledge that it wasn't completely his fault. And putting aside the whole deal stuff, because obviously I'm a no-deal Brexiteer, I prefer to leave on WTO terms, but the deal was a compromise. That's another issue, that a lot of Brexiteers don't like this situation. They would have preferred to leave without a deal. Obviously that was never going to be possible with this Parliament, and that's why an election is now needed. So Boris Johnson tonight is tabling a motion to ask for an early election again, but obviously he needs a 2/3 majority because of the Fixed Term Parliament Act. Now, they can't do that because he's going to lose the vote tonight, which means tomorrow he's going to be tabling a one-line bill to override the Fixed Term Parliament, which means you only need a simple majority. Now, if you remember yesterday in the video, we mentioned that the SNP and Lib Dems have created a trap for the government and the Conservative Party in Parliament by offering a one-line bill to override the Fixed Term Parliament Act. But that would have required a lot of issues from their side, so the government are now introducing their own version. The government has announced that if today's election motion fails, it will introduce an almost identical bill to that which the Lib Dems and SNP were proposing over the weekend for a December the 9th election. The news gives hope to a new path to a pre-January election, as it looks like tonight's vote under the terms of the Fixed Term Parliament Act, and therefore requiring a 2/3 majority, will fail, with Labour set to vote against it again. If presented tomorrow, the bill will require a mere majority to pass. With the Conservatives, Spartan Tories, SNP and Lib Dems, Parliament looks set to back the December the 9th election with a majority of 19. And the Labour Party are, as usual, kicking off because they don't want an election. One Labour MP said, "I won't be voting for a general election, come hell or high water. They can go beat themselves. Brexit must be sorted. As for winning, you've got to be pretty dim to ask for the checkered flag when you're stuck at the back of the grid." Well, that's going well for democracy and the Labour Party. They are still going to be voting against any election because they know they're going to be losing. Now, the update is that the SNP and Lib Dem trap for that bill to have the election is that they want the election to be pre-Brexit. So they want to have the election first, then sort out Brexit. You know why? Because when they get into power, they're going to be revoking Article 50, and they are hoping that the Brexit Party and the Tories would split their votes so that they will have a Remain coalition government, and that it's highly possible to basically cancel Brexit. Unless, obviously, all the Brexiteers get behind either the Brexit Party or the Conservative Party. Now, obviously, it's very difficult for a lot of Tories to vote Brexit Party. There's a lot of issues because they don't know what the Brexit Party's domestic policies are going to be apart from Brexit. Are they going to be left-leaning, high taxes, or are they going to be right-leaning and low taxes and small government, because the Brexit Party can't appeal to everyone, obviously, especially in conservative areas. Would not technically vote for a party that goes the other way around. So that is an issue, and whether they're going to have a pact, a non-aggression pact on a local level, or one party stand down, it's likely like they're going to be splitting their own votes to accidentally creating a Remain coalition, and that's the problem. In other news, on this day when the Remainers should be happy, technically, Remainers are actually splitting their own situation. They've started a random conflict and infighting at the People's Vote HQ. Now we all know who People's Votes are. The people who want to technically have a second referendum to then cancel Brexit, but now half of them want to completely cancel Brexit and the other half are not really happy about the situation.
This is Stephen Edgington for Guy News. I'm outside Millbank Tower, People's Vote HQ. Now today there has been absolute chaos in the People's Vote campaign. Roland Rudd sacked 2 senior advisors last night, but they're refusing to budge from their offices. Just down the road, Rudd is in 4 Millbank doing the TV studios, while staff behind me in the People's Vote HQ are completely furious. I was told by one member of the Remain campaign in there that it's just like another day in Remain land. It's complete chaos. And we haven't seen anyone come out just yet, but if we do, we'll go and interview them. But as I say, complete chaos in the People's Vote campaign. What do you expect?
Basically, the situation is the people at the top, Rudd and everyone else, are still in favour of actually having a second referendum rather than completely cancelling Brexit, whereas Tom Baldwin, McGrory and others are becoming Lib Dems. Obviously they want to completely cancel Brexit, and this is the problem. So Tom Baldwin got fired, but he still attended a meeting this morning, so Ronald Rudd and everyone else boycotted the meeting. Will Straw called Ronald Rudd a disingenuous person over his email last night to People's Vote staff, saying that James McGrory and Tom Baldwin will leave the organisation with immediate effect. Straw said that how can you have a civilised conversation when you've just fired someone by email? The People's Vote campaign have walked out in protest of Rudd, and they're leaving the management and people at the top alone in the office. And then later in the day, the People's Vote staff decamped to a cafe after Tom Baldwin told them that they can't really go to the pub. It's a work day. Oh yeah, it was way too early for their champagnes and proseccos and avocados, so they had to go to a cafe and have some sort of vegan coffee thing. I don't know. So this is a problem that they have right now. I know we said earlier that there's a risk of Brexiteers splitting their own votes in the election, but actually the Remainers are more divided than us, so don't worry about that. But I understand this is a weird situation. Not everyone's happy. Well, no one's happy. And I think there is going to be a march in Westminster for Brexit. Obviously, as soon as I have the details, I'll send everyone the information on that. So if you've already gotten your Brexit t-shirts, especially the People versus Parliament ones, make sure you wear them to come to the march. We have to send a big message to the political class that they can't mess with the British people, and they must apologise to the British public. So the election seems to be coming. So get ready, regardless of which party of the Brexit side you're going to be supporting. Some people are going to be voting for the Brexit party, some the Tory party. Just go with what your local area is, I guess. And no one can tell you how to vote. And it's the job of the parties and their manifestos to convince you. So see how that goes. Depending on where you live, some areas are actually better to vote for the Brexit party because the Tories have no chance. Some places is the other way around, so let's see how that goes. Generally speaking, we'll keep you updated until tomorrow when the second vote actually comes in. Unless tonight's motion actually passed, which it won't. So we'll see how tomorrow goes, and I'll make it a new update video tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click on the bell next to it so you get notified when I release a new video. If you want to stay up to date with the Brexit news, follow me on social media, Twitter and Instagram, and I'll be there. And as always, I'm Maya Tusi, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video.